just push live. We'll just give it a minute.
Yep.
You should be all set there, Robert.
All right. Just gonna got it here on our screen. All right. Good job. All right, I will call the meeting to order. Remind all of council to please disclose of any pecuniary interest at the appropriate time. And of course, we have the link to the meeting on the agenda, and we will acknowledge the ancestral lands on the agenda as well. We will go to the minutes of the previous council meeting of June 20th, 2022. We need a mover and a seconder to accept those. Thank you, Councillor Mitchell and Councillor Morris. Any questions or comments on those minutes? All in favor of receiving and filing those? Thank you. And there's no business arising from the previous meeting, so we'll go to scheduled meetings and events. They are all listed there, reminding everyone that AMO is coming up, and we will go to councillors' commitments and items. Is there anyone that wants to add anything to their councillor commitments today? No?
You can have August 23rd to the 28th.
And just remind councillors to please use your microphone.
You can add August 23rd to the 28th, and I'm away next week, but I can be back here in half hour.
All right. And if there's nothing else, we will go back to Councillor Westgate for any councillor items.
I have nothing today.
Councillor Morris?
I had one request. Basically, it's Ryan's territory, I guess. If we could install a bench at Warwick Ballpark by the playground. I guess there's a bunch of grandparents there and they entertain their kids and they get tired of standing up there, wondering if a bench would be available. That's it. Thank you.
Ryan, do you want to speak to that?
Yes, thank you, Councillor Morris. We will certainly look into that, and I'm certain that we can accomplish that this summer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Mitchell?
The big button. Sorry, nothing for me today.
All right, thank you very much. And I had nothing either, except I hear that the Optimist Beach Bump Volleyball Tournament went very well and was a great success. So as always, we're very grateful to our Optimist members for bringing that type of event into our community. And we will go on to staff items. And we have nothing on the agenda for staff. And our delegations are here, but we are going to wait until 6:15 to go to that. So I'm going to go down to accounts and the GL report. We need a mover and a seconder to receive and file that report. Thank you, Councillor Morris and Councillor Mitchell. Anything that you would like to highlight from that report?
Not at this time.
Okay, we will go on to, or all in favor of receiving and filing that report. That is carried. Thank you. We will go on to the non-action correspondence. Is there anything anyone on council would like to highlight from the non-action correspondence today? Councillor Morris.
There was just one that I was wondering about. It's number 715. It's to do with the resolution regarding Bill 109 for more homes for everyone. They're asking the province to speed up the pace and get things going. I'd like to support that one.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Mitchell. Any questions or comments on that? All in favor of supporting that resolution? That is carried. Anything else we would like to receive or highlight today? Seeing nothing, we need a motion to receive and file the remainder of the correspondence. Thank you, Councillor Westgate, Councillor Mitchell, all in favor. That is carried. And we have a few action correspondence items on the agenda tonight. Is there anything anyone would like to support? Councillor Morris.
Question, I guess, for Trevor regarding the Forest Fall Fair sponsorship. What did we do last year?
I do not believe Forest Fall Fair is on our list.
Okay. That's the only question I had. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Seeing none, we will Need a motion to receive and file the remainder of those correspondence. Thank you, Councillor Mitchell and Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That is carried. And we'll go on to staff reports. The first one, 14A, is the Lambton Group Police Services Board request for funding. We need a mover and a seconder for that recommendation. Yep.
Sorry, I do have to declare a conflict on that one just for work purposes.
Okay, let the record show that Councillor Mitchell has declared a conflict of interest. I believe we can still vote on that, given that we still have 3 councillors available, but I'm going to turn to my clerk. Yes, I'm getting the nod. So we need a mover and a seconder just to discuss that. Thank you, Councillor Morris and Councillor Westgate. Any questions or comments on that recommendation?
I don't really think we should pay any more money until everybody else pays what they up to. Like, we've already made a payment of 5,000. If I read it right, did I? Okay.
Yes, we made the first 5,000 and they've come back saying they need more without, in my opinion, proper justification other than here it is. So a little bit further support from other municipalities and or supporting documentation would be appreciated, at least from my shoes.
So would council like to request that staff go back for a more thorough report then? Is that the motion you're making, Councillor
Yes, I'd
Morris?
like to make that motion. I don't want to pay any, I don't think we should pay any more. First of all, there's only 2 townships that paid anything. We were one of them. I'd like to see everybody else get at least some of their funds in before we release all ours and hear a little more of why they need the money.
Okay, do we have a seconder to that? Councillor Westgate, are you seconding that or would you just like to speak to it?
That's what this recommendation is saying, is that they go and ask what's going on, see why they need more money.
Yep,
So I'll second that recommendation that we have
Okay.
here.
perfect. All in favor of that? That is carried. And we'll go on to the planning process review. We do have a couple of our planners in the room tonight. Did you guys want to come to the table to speak? They're going, no, thank you. Okay, we have a motion or a recommendation to receive and file that report. So we need a mover and a seconder for that. Councillor Morris and Councillor Mitchell. Any questions or comments on that? Seeing none, all in favor of receiving and filing that? That is carried. And I believe we have time for the next one, which is East Lambton Community Complex Capital Fundraising Campaign. Another exciting thing on the agenda here. We have a recommendation to approve that report. We need a mover and a seconder for that. Thank you, Councillor Westgate and Councillor Mitchell. Any questions or comments on that? Just for the public's notice, I will make note that the report has notes in here that we have raised so far 1.4 million on our fundraising efforts, and we're still working towards our $2 million goal. So quite proud of our fundraising team that we have, and Rhonda and George Knoll are doing a fantastic job as our committee chairs on that. So all in favor of receiving and filing that report? That is carried. Thank you. And we can go to the Culvert 15 and 16 tender award recommendation. There's a recommendation on that for council's consideration. We need a mover and a seconder for that. Thank you, Councillor Morris and Councillor Mitchell. Any questions or comments on that? Anything that Mr. Maver would like to highlight?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you. All in favor of that? That is carried. And we'll go to the Public Works update report. We need a mover and a seconder for that update. Councillor Mitchell and Councillor Westgate, thank you. Any questions or comments on that report? Anything that Mr. Maver would like to highlight for us today?
As you can see to the capital projects section, we're busy. There's lots going on. I guess some things to note. The Nauvoo Road and Confederation Line intersection, there was a project, I think it's June 27th, and they anticipate the next meeting, they'll have a full design where it's 90% complete. I did attach it to the agenda so you can have a look at the preliminary design, but that's essentially the directive, their direction they're going. And of course, as council recommended, they wanted it to be signalized for the future. So they're gonna, have the ductwork installed. So there could be signal lights at some point. The front street parking lot just started today. I think there was just a little bit of action, and then they're gonna come back next week and you'll see that full on. And then there's a couple culverts that are gonna be installed this week and then the following week. So lots of work going on. And of course, John Street, Ontario Street, and Erie Street, that road reconstruction project is in full swing. So lots going on. So those are the highlights.
Thank you. Do we have any expected finish times for the John Street project, like the one around that?
So the project in a whole is scheduled to be completed in October sometime.
And it'll be ready for lots at that time?
I can't speak to the lots, just the road portion.
Okay, thank you. I've just had some people asking questions, so that's good to know. And I just wanted to note for council as well, I'm sure everybody has seen the signs that the roundabout is on its way for Egremont Road and Nauvoo Road. So while it will be a maybe painful summer with a little bit of a detour there, that will be hopefully a very good thing for our community and make that corner much safer going forward. So we will receive and file that report then. All in favor? That is carried. And we have time for committee and other minutes. So we will go to the Waste Management and Use Committee meeting of June 28th, 2022. We need a mover and a seconder to that. Councillor Morris and Councillor Mitchell, thank you. Anything that what we should be highlighting from that? I believe that, thank you, Ms. Gubbles. Do you have a comment?
I would highlight, sorry, I can't see if anyone else is going to, but I just wanted to highlight that tentatively the trail, the WM End Use Trail, will be expanded this year along Confederation line. So it looks like it should be able to be completed this year. And of course, we'll keep council posted as that proceeds.
That's great. Good to know. Any other questions or comments on that? All in favor of receiving and filing that? That is carried. All right, council, we have a delegation with us tonight. Always happy to have the people from the community come in and talk to us. So I'm going to welcome the three of you up to the table. We've got about a minute before your delegation starts, but I think that's, nope, come on up. There's 3 microphones up here at the table here. And we try to keep things really informal here, guys. It's just sitting around sitting around the kitchen table. So unfortunately, we do have to use the microphones, which if you want to speak, then you're welcome to push the talk button, which is the large button right in the center. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
Hello, my name's Ken. This is my mom, Pauline, and Elstas. We're requesting a mural or a painting be put on the streets of our town, hopefully the main street. That's what we're thinking, and then that's what we're requesting. We've had 2 or 3 ideas of what we want. We haven't really locked down anything yet, but yeah, that's what we're really here for. Other than that.
Well, this council has always been open to new ideas, especially when it comes to artwork and things like that in our community. I'm not sure what the general procedure is if we have them work together with.
I guess
Jerry?
what street do you want to put it on? Main Street, or it's a mural you want to paint on the street?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So
I was thinking the main street, yeah, it's the
Yeah.
most public viewed.
I guess the only problem with Main Street is it's not our street. We have to go to the county.
Oh, yeah.
We've never been asked this before, so I'm not quite sure the process here.
Well, it's been done once before. Did you go through the county before? Like you have a precedent set already, right? There is a painting on the road now.
Oh, you're talking
Crosswalk.
about another crosswalk on the road.
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
painted-
something like that, yeah. So
Yeah, we
that
went through
one.
the county for that.
Oh, yeah.
We were told that it was Warwick Township.
It's a county road. I believe that that the particular crosswalk that you're talking about was an idea that came to Parks and Recreation Committee. A suggestion very similar to this from the community, where they came and asked if we could do a rainbow crosswalk, just welcoming everyone into the community. Just kind of a, you know, something bright and colorful that
Yeah,
welcomes everyone
We have no
from all
objections.
wakes.
We have no objections to that. That's
Mhm.
fine. I think it's a great thing for everyone to be able to express their freedoms and rights of all people, right? So we're just asking for the same thing of a mural or a crosswalk for ourselves, or we're thinking we have 2 or 3 ideas I've said already. So that's basically all we're asking for as well.
Councilor Morris.
That would be under Parks and Rec, I think, wouldn't it? That's where the original crosswalk came from, wasn't it, Ryan?
Yes, I believe so, through the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Yeah, so if they could put together a plan with a drawing or a diagram or something and get it set onto the agenda to Parks and Rec, we can deal with it pronto. And then the Parks and Rec makes a recommendation back to council, and then council still has to approve it. But it might be a place to start.
Yeah, generally speaking, it comes from Parks and Recreation. So
And who do we speak to? Like, do we call them Parks and Rec? So they have a specific, right here.
you're sitting at the right table because our head of Parks and Recreation is here, Ryan Chamney. I just want to say that what was put on was a standard crosswalk that is just a standard, you know, yeah, as long as it meets all regulations and.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Rombout. So yes, as Parks and Recreation Department, we'd be happy to sit down with you and discuss what it is you're looking for. Put together some options. We can give you a bit of background on the processes moving forward. But again, we'll sit down with you and go through that, and we'll discuss internally with our Parks and Recreation Committee. And in turn, if we deem it necessary, make recommendations to council for their consideration moving forward. And we can touch base after this meeting and reach out to you directly to start those conversations.
Okay. That's fine with me. Do you need my number or phone number?
I believe Amanda has your contact information. Yeah.
Very good. Now, do you want us to stay until after the meeting to talk, or do you want to just contact us tomorrow, or?
We can reach out directly later this week.
Great. We've actually had a very efficient meeting so far. So I'm just looking at the agenda and it won't be too much longer, but. Oh yeah, we've got the drain extension. We have about 10 minutes. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about? Councilor Morris.
I had one thing I wanted to bring up under new business, if I could, for a second. With this closing for the roundabout, I can see Arcona Road and First School getting a lot more traffic. The calcium is pretty well worn off. I'm wondering, do we have anything in the budget if we had to regrade and recalcium those roads?
That's an excellent question. Andrew, do you want to speak to that?
We don't have anything specific in the budget. We would have to find room to make it happen if that was council's wishes.
I think we need to wait and see what happens. What is it, the 18th of July? But I just can't see people going all the way to Kerwood Road and to Forest Road. And if Zion's going to be out of the picture, maybe sometime during this too. I can see Arcona and First School getting a ton more traffic, and I was through there and both of the roads, their calcium's pretty well worn off.
So would we require a motion for that type of maintenance then? I'm gonna look to Ms. Gubbles.
Mayor Reynolds, I think you could pass it as a staff direction for a public works manager to monitor the situation.
That would be fine with me. We just keep an eye on it. Like it's not starting until the 18th of July. So we'll, by next meeting, we'll know whether the traffic is crazy or not and whether we can do something about it. Thank you.
I do agree with Councillor Morris that is going to make a difference for sure, and people won't go all the way around at times. So I think that's an excellent point. And definitely something we want to be monitoring because it can get pretty dusty by August, even under normal circumstances. And we all know Nauvoo Road is extremely busy. Thank you guys so much for coming out. And yeah, it was great to see you all. I'm sure I'll see you on Saturday at church. Yep, take care. Is there anything else council wants to discuss? We have a few more minutes. We do have to stay on schedule. So we have a drain consideration meeting for the Moffat drain. I'm assuming that's what some of the members of the public are here for. So we have about 7 minutes. Councillor Morris.
Before the quarter revision or whatever it is gets underway, I am a landowner on this drain. And under the Drainage Act, I do not have to declare a conflict of interest. I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you. I believe I'm a landowner on this one as well. And I'll make the same point. I think we'd be a little in trouble if we did have to declare an interest for it.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'll keep my microphone on so Amanda's aware of the conversation.
It's okay. We tested it before she came in and turned it off and talked about it. Did you read lips?
She must not have heard that.
Mayor Ramba. I do have Mike DeVos in the waiting room, if you'd like me to let him in.
Amanda, you look like you have something to say.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Mike DeVos is in the waiting room, if you'd like me to.
Yes, absolutely.
in and get
Welcome
set
him in. Sure. All right, Mike, we see that you're online. Your camera is not on. There we go. Now we can see you. We were just saying how nice it is. Oh, we lost him. Oh, he'll get back on. I see that you're back on, Mike. We lost you there for a second. There we go. Would you like to test your microphone just to see if we can hear you?
Okay, can you hear me okay?
We can. That's excellent. All right. It is 6:29, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. We are going to proceed into the consideration of the drainage report for the Moffett Drain Extension 2022. Any petitioner has a right to withdraw from the petition. Does anyone wish to withdraw? I see nobody raising their hand to withdraw. Any other owners in the area requiring drainage have a right to sign the petition. Does anyone wish to sign the petition?
I would like to.
Councilor Morris, can I get you to use your mic?
I may want to sign the petition after Mike answers some questions. We'll have to wait and see.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So I am going to turn it over. I don't see anybody else that's wanting to sign at this point, but perhaps after the report, I'm going to turn it over to Mike DeVos of Spreets Associates to please explain his report tonight.
Okay. The report you have was prepared in accordance with Section 4 of the Drainage Act for a new municipal drain. There was a petition submitted or petitions submitted to improve the existing private ditch / natural water course that crosses through lots 14, 13, and 12 from the downstream end of the current Moffett drain, going across Concession 5 SER, and eventually heading across First School Road and Confederation Line, and then where it joins in with another natural water course, which is downstream of the Duncan drain. The landowners had indicated that they did not have sufficient drainage for their properties, as well as were receiving flows from upstream, which was causing erosion and flooding, and they requested that improvements be made to address all of those concerns, as well as 2 culverts that were requested to be, one was an existing culvert that is being replaced, and another one is a new culvert that's being installed. So this report is improving the existing channel, making it a municipal drain, repairing erosion that is there from flow in the ditch, protecting from erosion and repairing erosion from flow in the fields dropping down into the ditch, replacing construction of 2 culverts, as well as the deepening and widening of the channel to accommodate the flows. There are some environmental measures in place as well to protect flows dropping in from the channel and filtration of the water. So there's buffer strips included, and some mitigation measures from a timing perspective and things like that, and silt control during construction to help the environmental measures as well. So at that point, I would stop and open up to questions.
Okay, before I open it up to questions, I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Maver if he has any comments to add.
No comments at this time.
Thank you. Is there any questions from the floor tonight? Seeing none, I see Councillor Morris has a question.
Yeah, Mike, on my property, we mentioned at the one meeting, I have a washout caused by the lagoon years ago, runs about 150 feet into my field, takes up about a half an acre. There's nothing mentioned in the report about filling that up with some of the topsoil, I guess you'd call it, out of the drain. Does that need to be added to the report, or is that just can be done?
I believe it is being done. It is this, there's a fairly long stretch in the part, and I'll say that it's the part that's running northwest. The water comes in from upstream, pretty much perpendicular to the property line, and then it turns northwest. And in that area, we could see the area where water is jumping out of the channel and flowing down in the lowland adjacent to that. So that area is going to be filled with the excavated material. There is a fair amount of excavated material in that area. So it is indicated on the drawings that that's what we're doing. And if you wish, we could review further the exact details of it and hopefully determine that would be sufficient for your needs. If there's additional material above and beyond what we're suggesting, that would have to be added in at the time.
Okay, thank you, Mike. So I don't need to sign the petition for this? Oh, we lost him.
No, you do not.
Okay.
The other signatures on the petition were sufficient to create a valid petition. So the work was proposed to accommodate that.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay, if there's no other comments or questions from the floor, the report will be approved and the bylaw will be given first and second reading later in the meeting. And thank you everyone for attending. Thanks, Mike, for joining us.
Good night.
Good night.
What happens there?
You got to come up, Andy. Sorry, Mike, stick around for a minute. He's just got one more question. If you have a seat right there and there's a button at the middle. There you go.
That piece by the train tracks, what happens back there? On my farm?
Mike, this is Andy Vanden Owland. He's asking about the piece by the railroad tracks by his farm.
That ditch I want to move.
The ditch that he wants to move.
That is a separate project, and we were awaiting to get some answers from you on that as to the direction in how we were to proceed. So that is a separate report. That is what's called branch number 7 of the Moffat Drain. It's not the Moffat Drain extension. And we would be submitting a report once we get the direction from you as to exactly what your wishes are.
Okay, so when you want to do that?
I'm good to do it whenever. I don't think the council meeting is the appropriate place, but I am open. I'd have to look at my schedule as far as meetings go, but the sooner the better, as far as I'm concerned, to try and get something in place. We've been waiting for that response. So maybe what we can do outside of this meeting is I can give you my phone number and you can give me a call and we'll arrange a time that suits both of our schedules.
Okay.
Yeah, if I recall, I believe it was the same. We had the last meeting at together with this drain. We had this drain and then we had the like a different meeting at the same time.
Yeah.
And so they haven't got that report done yet. They're waiting to hear from you. So do you have Mike's contact information?
Oh, I just need his telephone number.
I'm sure that Andrew can help you with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you have another?
Yeah.
Can you state your name just so that they know who you are?
Yeah, hi, Mike. Mike Hooksma, or possibly Andrew knows the answer. Do you have a planned quarter revision date for this?
I apologize. Our deputy clerk is on vacation this week, so we don't have that answer, but I'm sure we can make a note of it. Oh, Amanda, do you have an answer? No, we'll make a note of it and one of our staff will contact you. Okay. Thank you very much for attending. And the next portion of the meeting is to go into the closed session, which we will be dealing with all of the items listed on the agenda. So we need a mover and a seconder to go into closed session. Thank you, Councillor Morris and Councillor Mitchell. All in favor? That is carried. So for those of you who are joining us on YouTube, we appreciate you attending the meeting and we wish you a very happy and safe rest of the summer. And we will see you again at the next scheduled meeting.